What are signs of depression that aren't talked about? The more I read the comments of this thread, the more stuff makes sense. Constantly looking at the clock. I can't decide if I am just a lazy pos or depressed after reading all of these comments. Loss of interest in things you normally found interesting. I had a long-standing hobby that I greatly enjoyed for many years, which I dropped almost entirely a couple months into 2020. People I spoke to about this just seemed to try and find multiple excuses for me, even though in the end I know it all linked back to my depression. Irritability. The frowning. Bad hygiene. Me and my apartment smelled like death when I hit the lows. Being too scared to say anything to anyone in case they feel the same. One which might be more related to anxiety/stress than depression is you think you see things that aren't there. For example, you think you saw a spider run across your bedroom floor, but there isn't anything there. Or if you are grieving a loved one, you may think you see them throughout the day, but it's someone who looks similar, etc. Being sad. Psychiatrist told me that anxiety without the accompanying sadness can also be a form of clinical depression. That was news to me. The inability to focus, the brain fog. Rereading the same simple sentence over and over because you can't get it to make sense. Makes you feel even more stupid when you're not. Like Teresa fuzzy grey veil between you and everything else. My favorite foods are suddenly unappealing. Food I was excited to eat yesterday becomes meh. I feel hungry but don't feel like eating even when food is right in front of me. Usually showering, brushing my teeth and forcing myself to eat will help me feel more like myself. Chronic physical pain. Devaluing your accomplishments. Or making yourself feel like they aren't as impressive/important as they really are. Aggression/irritability/general anger. This is more common in men than women. Sudden change in weight, either increased or decreased. For some people, it's doing too many things. Not sure if anyone else does this, but I'll fill my day with task after task after task, work, school, chores, back to back. That way, I don't have time to just sit there and think. Not everyone who's depressed can't do anything, and likewise, not every day for someone who has depression is completely bedridden. But some may be. Drug addiction. Being fine with not being fine, knowing your future will end soon, knowing the path your life will go down, and stop trying to quit hurting yourself. For example, I know for a fact I'll quickly start smoking, drinking, drugs even in the next couple years. I won't manage to quit and probably won't try, and I know I won't live past 18. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this position. Comedian Gary Gulman has a funny one in his stand-up special last year, fork marks in the ice cream. You wanted ice cream, but didn't have the will to wash a spoon. Boredom. Honestly, not wanting to do hobbies anymore. Was hunting and fishing for me. I lost all interest in them in my early-ish stages of depression, and they got worse to the point where I don't think I'll ever hunt or fish ever again. No, nothing traumatic happened. Just lost all interest and never wanted to go back. Something I remember from being depressed was that everything felt like it lost color. It felt like everything was just black and white, and when I got out of the depressed state was that everything felt so much more colorful. So I thought it was strange and looked up symptoms of depression, and apparently your brain produces a lot less of the hormones needed to see color. I know it sounds strange, and it was, but this is honestly what I saw. Food consumption. Eating the same food, eating more, eating less. When I was at my peak, I ate the same thing for a very long time. Indecision and restlessness. The amount of hours I've lost to indecision on tiny choices such as whether I should wash my hair today, or the unproductivity of being so restless you can't do anything except pace or start menial tasks is too much to calculate. Extreme happiness. I know for a fact at my low points I'm extremely susceptible to going absolutely crazy hyper to the most extreme high, and then like a sugar rush it drops off badly. Man, I just realized that many of the things that are being mentioned here are very relatable to me, and just makes me wonder if I really have depression. Being too happy all the times. Having random outbursts of laughter thinking about life or if you'll get past a certain point. Curling up in the small corner of your bed with tons and tons of stuff place on your bed. A messy room with clothes everywhere. The thing is, it's not just being messy. It's just how it is. How much it can affect your appetite. I know plenty of people who lose theirs completely, but I tend to go overboard with eating as it feels safe and comfortable to chew and taste things. It can go either way. It all depends on the individual's biological reactions to depression. I want to leave the house tomorrow with a full list of plans. I wake up, no I'm not leaving, and when I do I have a short list for dinner and essentials for the babies, and then I'm straight home. Everything I do. Telling yourself you are happy, and somewhat believing it. There is a TED talk by a monk named Master Shi. He talks about the hindrances of the human mind. He goes in depth about it and discusses the depression part. Give it a watch. Working too many hours. The muscle aches. Sometimes I'm crying in pain because my whole body is excruciating. Buying Tinder Gold. Dry hair, usually due to insomnia and lack of maintenance. Eating more and more fast food because it's so much easier than cooking. Probably the same meal every time. I don't know if I will ever be happy. Eating cold ravioli straight out of the can in the bathroom alone. I always grew up having a coping task I would do if I was depressed. I would go to sleep. So, whenever my nephew gets in trouble, I talk it out with him so he doesn't just go to sleep and get depressed later on in life. Zoning out over and over again with no emotion on your face. Excessive cannabis use that goes beyond casually smoking up in one's free time, like daily use. Losing ambition on plans that were once a source of excitement and enthusiasm, or having a hard time staying enthusiastic on things. Becoming blindingly focused on something that makes you feel better, until it no longer has that effect anymore and you lose all interest and joy in it. Looking in a mirror and not recognizing yourself. That was/is disconcerting to say the least. Lack of personal hygiene/stopping caring about appearance. I had a colleague that would have spells of depression. We all knew she was going through a hard time when she stopped putting effort into doing/washing her hair. Self-neglect. I relate to most of these, apart from hygiene. I don't know where I find the motivation to go and clean myself up every day, but that's one of the only things that I'm good at. Wanting and thinking you need the depression. I was pretty depressed for a while. Even got diagnosed. I wanted to be sad. I wanted to be alone. I'm used to being around people, and having fun. It's a dark couple months in my life that my girlfriend helped with significantly. I still have bad days, but she always pulls me out before I can slip back into that black, inky void. I'm learning to use my self-awareness to help with my depression, and recognize whenever I'm slipping. If you're seeing this, Maddie, thank you. Love you. You start having negative perceptions of other people, to the point where you sort of pick someone as being the enemy or the villain. Physical pain. Depression can either be caused by pain or depression can make you feel pain. I had been struggling with a normal amount of teenage depression until my pain got bad and I got used to laying down to relieve it. It became so endless my bed has a dip where I've been laying because I don't hardly move. Plotting revenge on anyone that's done you wrong. Even if it happened years ago. I used to fall asleep thinking about it, but after being on antidepressants for a couple months that was one of the first things that went away. Got tinnitus. Crying for no reason. Gaining so much weight but not having enough energy to lose it. These comments are worrying me about myself 0_0. I'm generally very happy with my life, but I experience a lot of these signs people are describing. Okay Reddit, you're making me worried. Feeling terrible for feeling happy or good about anything. Your depression gets so familiar that when you feel good you default to destroying that feeling because it doesn't feel right. The literally crying because Abby yelled at Nia, dance moms, I know, again, and it hit a nerve for no reason. Felt that one a few minutes ago. I can't speak for anyone else, I imagine this is unique to me. but I don't care about my phone. I just throw it across the room sometimes for no reason and refuse to charge it before it dies. I stare blankly at it when it's off and don't bring it with me half the time. No interest in doing anything, even things you like. I became someone with no hobbies at all. Fear for nothing and then everything. Weight gain. Work and being an efficient, disciplined employee. Sometimes work is an escape and a distraction from your everyday misery. Seeming happy and functional so as not to make people in your life think something is wrong. Things just not feeling fun anymore. Never mind the second watch of an amazing saga. I struggle to enjoy anything when low. I end up living for nostalgia moments such as the Xbox sale Star Wars Racer, a pod racing game that I played on the N64 with my family. Even then, I can't distract myself from my low mood and it feels like effort. To anyone reading, take care, look after yourself and have a great 2021. Feeling of being unhinged. When unmedicated it feels like I'm off balance, within. It's a very staggering feeling. The feeling of having to do everything perfect or not at all. I have messages from people who I like and like talking to, people who are very supportive. The messages are over a week old and I haven't opened them. In my mind if I open them, I have to respond or I leave people on read, which I've been taught is a bad thing, but I have to respond with something that engages the person and is a well thought out response to whatever they've sent me. But then I open myself up to a conversation and conversations mean you have to send messages quickly. I'm too tired all the time to have a conversation with someone, so that means I can't message them, which means I can't open their message. Shopping, endless shopping. Gaming 16 hours a day. Being angry. Like all the time, against everybody, and for minor things. I have to go see a psychiatrist. Losing interest in things you used to like, nothing makes you happy anymore. For me, it's the slow slide from happy to depressed. It's almost like losing hearing or something. One day you're happy and everything is right in the universe. Over a slow, long amount of time, you still think you're happy, but you have no more joy. You're depressed and you didn't even know it happened. You don't even question it. It's now your normal state of being. Joyless, pessimistic, often suicidal, but in a dark comedic way as not to draw too much negative attention, and tired. Always tired. I hate reading this. I knew I had depression, but I didn't really wanna believe it because my life isn't even that bad. But reading all this makes me realize all of the things I thought was just me, is not. It's far worse than I thought. Apathy. I really don't care about anything. I am that apathetic I can't be bothered committing suicide, which might be good you say, but that extends to everything I do. Eating, bathing, everything is a fight. Breathing. Not caring about anything at all. It's basically the it is what it is mentality, and even when something good happens you can't find yourself to be happy about it. Not answering messages or calls. I'm always on Snapchat but just never answer messages. Everyone just thinks I'm mad at them even when I've explained I'm going through something, but the something has been going on for years now. In my case the hardest is getting up in the morning. The only reason you get up is because you have to and not because you want to. It is horrible to get up when you are forced to and you don't really recognize how bad it is because you can't remember how it was to have a reason, and it just becomes normal to think like this. I'm not gonna self-diagnose myself with depression, but I recognize all these signs in myself. Your time has value, don't just let it go to waste. Loss of sex drive. Pretty much self-explanatory, but you can't motivate yourself to move. Sex involves a bunch of moving, so. A fake smile. Social anxiety due to generation gaps. Being a Mets fan. Physical pain, muscle ache, soreness without injury or known reason, may be unlocalized or hard to pinpoint a location. Chronic pain. My depression caused anxiety, which caused tension headaches so terrible my doctors thought they were migraines. Anhedonia, feeling apathetic. If you are the primary caregiver for a toddler and they have speech delays, that can come from being depressed and not communicating with them. Today, Reddit learned me that I am depressed. Physical numbness. Absolute inability to concentrate on anything for more than a few minutes. I know I'm coming into or in a worsening depression when my TV habits go from new shows back to The Office or Parks and Rec, which are so familiar to me.